started. So welcome to the Kenya Departure 2025, kickstarting the year. Right, my name is Millie, and with Zoe, I head up all the kind of the operations of the Leap. So I know Kenya extremely well and know that you are in for a treat. So let's just do a little bit of recap on the team size and everyone's flights, okay? Bear with me as I just get the Kenya right. Right now, we have 16 people heading off. We have room for 2 more, and then we call it quits. Out of the 16, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boys. So that's pretty good. That's a good balance. So we are happy with that. You are all flying out. We have got flights for everybody. Most of you are on the Ethiopia. Bar Johnny and Finn, you're on the BA flight. We know you're getting there a bit early. That's fine. That has been all arranged. We will let you know what time, because you're arriving at 7:30. We need you just to hang out at Mombasa Airport until the team arrive, which is pretty easy to do. There's a little cafe on exit. You just literally exit the building, turn right, and the cafe is there. Mira, have we got your flights? Yes, we have. Okay, brilliant. I'm pleased you've got that all arranged. Okay, so all good with the flights. So the purpose of today is for me to run through your expectation, run through the itinerary, run through who's going to be looking after you, run through the kit, make sure you've got everything, all the admin, in order so that, you know, that the trip is a complete winner. Okay? As we go through each section, please will you ask questions so that, you know, it's an interactive. Otherwise, I will just babble on. Okay, so the first thing, let's just do an overview of your itinerary. Okay, so we've gone through the flights. You're going out there for 4 weeks. Every weekend, okay, is your downtime. Okay, Monday to Friday is your busy time. Okay, so Monday to Friday, you are going to be doing a mix of marine conservation and community work. Okay, no 2 days are going to be the same. So every day, Joseph and Juba, they have a blackboard kind of saying, right, this is what you're going to do in the morning, in the evening. And the first 2 weeks, you're going to experience everything, whether you like it or not. You're just going to be thrown at every project that they've got going. When you come back from a safari in the kind of second half of the program, then Joseph and Juma, who are your project leaders, they would give you kind of more of a choice. Like, what did you love? What do you want to do more of? So you do have ownership and a kind of degree of control over everything that you do. Okay, so I'm just going to run through the projects and just to give you a kind of recap of what your goals are. So this whole program is put together by Oceans Alive, who are a pioneering marine conservation project, which is being, you know, King Charles even supports it, and it is being copied up and down and worldwide now. It's pioneering in that they're not just tackling the ocean, they're looking at the ocean and they're looking at community and the community and their relationship with the ocean. So they're looking at it as a whole. You can't affect one without helping the other, because traditionally, the problems of the ocean has come because the communities are completely dependent on fishing, on tourism, and just basically, you know, just kind of ruining and battering the coral. In addition to that, clearly, you've got global warming, coral bleaching, but it's like, what can they affect? And you will see how all these projects are interlinked. So every day you'll be going into the water to help Katana do the marine projects. The marine projects are going to be doing, you're going to be taught about the underwater fish and everything that they want to log so that you could do effective surveys. Snorkel and mask on, in the water you go, tinkering around for your underwater safari, but logging what you see. The other thing is you're going to be doing coral gardening. That's with your toothbrush. You're going to be cleaning the tiny little bits of coral because you've got coral beds of coral growth of certain sizes. Little corals need to be brushed. When they're bigger, you will then transplant them onto the new coral reef, which you will experience on land, building the little plugs onto watch the little bits of coral are planted, go into the nursery, and you will also build big coral structure reefs are made out of concrete and wire, which are submerged into the sea, onto which you attach the coral plugs, which have grown to a certain healthy size. And voila, a new coral garden is created. It's genius, it's simple, and you will see this in all its glory. So, you know, that is a great experience. So that is the kind of what the kind of basic projects are with the coral. In addition, you will be headed right into the heart of the community because you've got to keep the coral gardens. They have a no fishing ban for 6 months. But these fishermen, they can't just kind of not fish. What are they going to eat? What are they going to feed their families? What are they going to sell at the markets? So you'll be helping these fishermen build beautiful gardens, vegetable gardens in their houses with Leah, the kind of permaculture guide and leader expert. So now these coral gardens, you know, they're kind of growing spinach and peppers and cucumbers, which they sell in the market to get their income. You'll also be building these little Gico stoves, which are miniature agas. So the simple principle being, if they do get a fish, which they're now got to get from other places, they can fry this fish so it lasts longer. So that reduces the demand on the ocean. The other project, which everyone absolutely loves, is the Water Appreciation Project, which is going into the heart of the community and delivering water to the elderly and the sick who can't access the well easily. So you can see every day you'll be doing a mix of this in different times of day, depending on the tide, depending on when the community, you know, is kind of, needs the water delivered. So you just got to trust that the Monday to Friday program will evolve. It will be there when you arrive. It's a mix of all of that. Okay, any questions so far on the mix of projects? All good? What you expecting? Okay, now interwoven into that is going to be elements of downtime and fun. So it's not all hard work and no play. Okay, in Vapingo, where you're going to be based, you've got the kind of the beach bar, you've got Vapingo bar, you've got volleyball pitches, there's going to be football matches with the local community, church services on a Sunday. What else? There's just masses of kind of fun stuff just to kind of to mix it up. So don't worry, there will be downtime. There will be time for sundowners and a few beers and just chilling your beans and enjoying the fact that you are on the Indian Ocean, right on the beach. Which brings us to, what does your accommodation look like? Okay, where are you going to be living? Well, for the whole 4 weeks, you're going to be living at the volunteer accommodation, which has been renamed. It was called Pope's, now it's called Bahari High. Okay, Des and Tilda, who run Oceans Alive, they have now, in partnership with us, they've bought this accommodation, and it is a process of transformation, which you will see. Now, I don't want anyone to get bitter and twisted, but some of the rooms have had a bit of a makeover and some haven't. Okay, now you just got to all be very, work as a team, and you just got to kind of move around. Some are nice and whitewashed, some are the old school. So just brace yourself. The beds are the same in every place. The showers are the same. It's just not aesthetically pleasing in every place. So you'll work it out when you're there, whether you circulate, whether you change rooms, who knows? But there are parts that are being done up and parts that haven't. So but whatever it is, it's a home from home. It will feel like home, and all the staff there will just their main aim is to make you have a really nice time. So looking after you, you've got Joseph and Juma, who are the main team guides. Okay, they are heaven. If you look at our Instagram post just recently, you'll see photos of them. They are loved by everybody. Okay, so they are in charge of your itinerary, your projects, getting you from A to B. In addition to that, you've got the gorgeous dolphin who runs the home, who makes sure your laundry's done, makes sure you're well and happy, you're drinking enough water. She's the mother figure. In addition to that, you've got the gorgeous Godfrey, who's cooking you all the food, and lots of other staff who are there to give you that home from home feeling. The house is right on the sea, so you arrive and the ocean and the gorgeous beach is right there. So you've got wonderful evenings. Godfrey's going to be cooking you all your food, but you've got moments, you've got a pool, you've got a bar in there where it gets stocked with drinks and snacks and everything. It's kind of pay as you go, or at the end of each week, whatever you decide is easiest. And there's lots of bonfires on the beach. So it's a very chilled vibe. Okay. Cards, if you love backgammon, love chess, anything like that, take it with you, because that's the kind of vibe Monday to Friday that you're after. It's kind of chilled, relaxed, beachy vibes. At the weekends, you can carry on doing beachy vibes, going to the beach bar, going to Vapingo, or you could catch a taxi that takes you down to Kilifi, which is about 25 minutes away. At Kilifi, there's a couple of cool bars like Salties. There's a new one which is right on the waterfront when you go on the dhow. So there's a couple of extra things that you want to do. Kite surfing is really, really big at Kilifi, if that was something that you wanted to try. But that's kind of near. Going off to Watamu and Malindi, that's a real pain and we don't recommend it. It's a bridge too far. The roads aren't great. And, when you get there, it's quite kind of hedonistic, and we kind of try and avoid it and keep everybody kind of more local. You've only got a few weekends just to kind of, explore really for Pingo and Kilifi. You've got everything that you need. Okay. So in addition to all that staff, you will meet the staff from Oceans Alive who head up each sector. Des, of course, gives you the overview. He kind of set it up. And then you've got Katana, who's in charge of all the marine stuff. You've got Leah, who's in charge of the permaculture. And then Joseph and Juma, because they come from the local communities, they are in charge of the local community interactions, such as the Gico stoves, the water, the football matches. They do everything like that. Okay. Any questions so far on that? Good. Are you still with me? Because I know I'm waffling. Okay. So going into house admin, phones, Wi-Fi, money, all that type of stuff. Plugs, starting with that. Okay. Yes, of course, there is electricity, but it is run on generators, and we are going to Africa. So there could be easily a blackout and no electricity. That's why your head torch is very, very useful. We'll come to the kit, but that is why it is there. Plugs, usually they are the UK format. So Mira, you need to get a UK conversion plug, okay? Wi-Fi, there is Wi-Fi in camp, okay? Enough to WhatsApp, but not enough to start streaming videos, okay? You will just literally, you'll blow up the whole thing. So, and it is quite temperamental. That's Africa for you. Okay, so that's the Wi-Fi. The phone, when you arrive, we're going to recommend that you get a local SIM card. You don't have to, you can rely on the Wi-Fi, but local SIM card is very easy to get. at the airport, you will get that done with Joseph and Juma when they pick you up from the airport. Okay, easy peasy. Now, money is a little bit more complicated. Everything is done. Kenya is so advanced in some ways. They do all their money transactions in a thing called M-Pesa, which is phone transaction, literally down to 2 shillings. Okay, so the local currency is the Kenya shillings. It might be worth getting some Kenya shillings out before you go, or if you don't, you just use the ATM at the airport. And when you're there, Joseph and Juma will help you set up the M-Pesa account on your phone. Okay, it's really, really simple to do. And then that's the easiest way you make transactions. But in addition, I would recommend that you take out a Monzo card and a debit card, just having those with you so that if you have troubles with M-Pesa or you don't like it, you just want to use cash, of course you can. And then you've got a choice of a debit card and a Monzo card or one or the other. Okay. Going back to your telephones. If you had, this is just like good top advice, if with like the cards, 2 is better than 1. 2 bank cards, 2 telephones. The reason being is that if you lose a bank card, if you lose a telephone or drop it into the ocean, okay, you're going to be scuppered because there is no post of any kind of use or value to Kenya. Okay. So if you have a spare telephone knocking about at home in the one kitchen drawer, it doesn't matter what it looks like or how dated it is, just throw it into your bag, just in case you drop your phone or get it nicked. Okay, getting it nicked is highly unlikely. Dropping it into the ocean happens. It happens to one person in every single group. Okay, so just be mindful of that. And it's very expensive to buy new phones out there. So have a rummage around, beg, borrow, and steal for a knackered old second phone to sling in your bag. Okay. Visas. Okay. Essential, essential, essential. Everybody needs that ETA to enter Kenya. Okay. No ETA, no getting on the flight. Now, that ETA is valid for 90 days in Kenya. If you're going to extend your stay and stay in Africa, absolutely brilliant. Doesn't matter. They don't care where you're going to be. But if you leave Kenya, say you wanted to pop down to Tanzania and return back into Kenya, you need to get a whole new ETA. Okay? It is 1 entry only. Just remember that. I only say that because I was recently in Africa and somebody came unstuck with that very thing. Okay, 1 ETA is 1 entrance only into Kenya. Okay?
Millie,
Yeah.
can I ask the question there? We haven't got the visa yet. Do you need the return flight for that? Do you need to show that you've got a return? Or can you just have an entrance?
They are,
because I've once before for another child and it was a nightmare. So I just want to make sure we get it completely right.
They like to know that you're leaving the country at a certain date. If you change that return flight date, but it's within the 90 days, no one's going to care.
You do need the return leg to apply for it.
I have to say, yes, it's a big risk if you don't.
Okay.
Some people can risk it, but I don't recommend it.
Okay. And the other question I had about that is, I've forgotten.
In touching the visa subject, can I just quickly, how long should we expect? Because we haven't done it either. How long? Because it says 72 hours in one of the emails you've sent, but then when I spoke to travel finders, they said it can take up to, I don't know how many weeks. So what do you think we should reasonably expect it to take to get it sorted?
I would try and just get it sorted before Christmas.
Okay.
Okay, you just nail that piece of admin before Christmas. I mean, it has, what we've known personally is that it gets turned around in 2 or 3 days. It's pretty fast, but you don't want to take that risk.
And now we've got New Year's in between, so that's what I was wondering, whether there's a risk then that we end up not getting
crack on this week.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I remembered my question now.
Okay.
So if you've got to say why you're going over there, and we've got the
tourist.
You've suggested, say we're a tourist and we're staying with blah. But if you're going beyond the 4 weeks, do you have to demonstrate what you're doing? No, you don't. You just say you're going for that period of time.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You can. So you can, if you've got your flight and it's returning in 7 weeks' time, you're you're just saying you're staying with Des and Tilda until that moment, just so that everything is aligned, so you get less questions.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
But they won't question you.
No.
One
thing I remember being when we applied for this a couple of years ago for one of my other kids, is that it came back overnight when we applied for it, but the dates were from the date we applied, and I thought, oh God, because we applied something like 6 weeks before, and I thought, oh God, it was very unclear whether that was the start date and whether that would be 90 days from when we applied. And I was told, no, don't worry, it's from the moment you land, but it's not clear from the thing that you get back. So in case anybody else gets that and panics, it is from the date you land, even though it says it's immediate.
Yeah.
And then you think,
you'll be pleased if it was a couple of years ago, you did the old traditional visa.
Oh, okay.
Nightmare. This is a little bit slicker, a little bit easier, the ETA, and you're in similar though. It starts from the day you arrive, and your passport gets stamped.
Great. All right. Brilliant. Thank you.
Pleasure. So that's your visa. Okay. So going into your kit list, team, everything on that kit list is there for a reason. Okay. So don't think, oh, I don't need that. Especially when it comes to your snorkel and mask, your rash vests, your UV rash vest, and your reef shoes. Without those things, you won't be going into the water to do your marine. Okay? And don't skimp. Do not skimp. We just had a school group and half of them took really rubbishy snorkel and mask, which really leaky. So get a decent snorkel and mask. If you haven't got one, I highly recommend the Cressy brand, which you get on Amazon. CRESSI. Really good. Reef shoes, essential, because you're going to be walking out. All the snorkeling and all the marine projects are on the inner side of the reef. But you have to, and you do it at low tide. So you swim and you're literally walking on, you've got little paths, but you'll see no shoes, no going in, because you don't want to tread on something, that's going to hurt. Okay. So proper shoes, proper UV vest, proper snorkel and mask. But in addition to that, the clothes, the temperature, it is hot. And it is humid, okay? So the lighter the clothes, the better. You will not be wearing jeans. You will not be needing any of that kit, okay? But, during the day, the last group said, I did take some quite nice clothes, but the project work, it all got ruined. Yep, that is what's going to happen. The soil in Kenya is bright reddy brown. And once it's on your white t-shirt, that's it. Your white t-shirt will have that stain forever. Okay. So whilst you're doing your project work during the day, you just want to be mindful that you're taking clothes that, quite frankly, you probably won't be bringing home. In the evenings, yes, you want some kind of nicer things, but during the day, shorts and t-shirts that are not special. Okay. In the evenings, long trousers, long arms, you know, to keep the mosquitoes off. If you're not going to wear long arms, then you definitely take, or long trousers, you definitely take your DEET, your mosquito repellent, to keep the spray, you know, to keep yourself sprayed. Okay. Other top tips, which I'm going to put in an email to you. Oh, I'm just going to get it. Hold fire. I've recently returned from my trip to Africa, and I and my team took this bag. So I was on the kit list that say kind of a day rucksack, which is really useful for when you're kind of going from A to B. But this is also really useful, which is one of those bum bags, which is big enough to put in a water bottle. Now, Uniqlo has a really good one, but if you want something a little bit more upmarket, I highly recommend this one, which is by a brand called Moral, and they're giving 25% off to leapers. Good Christmas present. I'm happy with that. So I'll put that detail in the thing in your follow-up email. But that's a really good top tip. They've got really good gear, just saying. That is all on the kit. Medical stuff. Right. Okay. It's hot and humid. So when you're packing your medical bag, what I want you to think about is keeping the mosquitoes off you. Cuts. If you get a cut, a nick, rashes, sweat rashes, these are the typical things which people kind of complain about. You're sitting in, I know this is quite revolting, but go for it. I'm just going to go for it. You're sitting in kind of wet bikinis all the time. UTIs are quite common. If you're prevalent to that, you know, that can rear its ugly head. Dehydration is people can and do get dehydrated. 2 water bottles at least, and rehydrates. Now, don't take those disgusting rehydrates called Diorolite. Take the really nice ones, which you can get from Holland & Barrett, from Waitrose, anywhere, which they look like kind of Redoxon. You drop them into water and they kind of fizz, and they're really nice flavors. They're kind of brand called Vorse or Boost. They're really good. Okay, so those are the typical things I want you to be mindful of and pack accordingly. You're all to have your jabs, the waterborne diseases such as typhoid, Hep A, and check you're up to date with your tetanus. Anything else is a bonus, but that's the essential ones. You're all going to take your malaria tablets. Now, on the malaria tablets, you've just got to go with the flow, take them for 4 or 5 days. If you feel weird on your malaria tablets, raise the alarm. Go and talk to Joseph and Juma, because occasionally it can make people feel out of sorts, give you bad tummy, give you bad headaches, can make you feel a bit down. So just, you know, really assess how it's making you feel, and we can work with you on that. Now, the biggest risks in Kenya are malaria and dengue fever. Okay. If you get a fever or malaria or anything like that, you will be taken immediately to the Vapingo clinic, which is 10 minutes away. It is awesome, literally awesome. You know, if you need anything, the doctors are there, are brilliant. They can test for these things immediately and give you the antibiotics to get better. So I don't want anybody to panic if they suddenly get diagnosed, and parents at home, oh my God, they've got malaria. They're brilliant at this. They deal with it all the time, and you will get the right medication. Okay. So no panicking if that happens, but you know, occasionally it can and does happen. Okay. But communication with Joseph and Juma and all the staff, Dolphin and Godfrey, you know, that is key, and everybody will look after you and keep you healthy. But for Pingo Clinic is brilliant. If you needed anything more than that, say you broke your leg or God forbid, something along those lines, then you'd be taken down to Mombasa Hospital. If it was more urgent than that, then you'd be flown to Nairobi. Okay, so the medical facilities are really good out there, and it's all in hand. Any questions about that? Keeping you healthy. Safari and scuba. Now, the safari and scuba, they are entirely optional. Okay, you don't need to do them, but if I was going to do one, I would definitely try and budget for the safari, because it happens over a kind of a long weekend, and you've got the privilege of doing it with Chris Angel, who's one of Kenya's top safari guides, and he really does make the safari, him and his wife, so they really are special. So he will come and talk to you in the first week. So you could talk about amongst yourselves as to, who wants to do it. I highly recommend it. And he usually suggests you do a 4-day safari. So you could go right into Tsavo National Park, but you can do 3 days or 2 days. That will be discussed when you're there. The scuba, we need to know if anybody wants to do that. That happens down in Kilifi, and that's during the project time. So you will be, instead of doing the projects, you'll be driven down to do the scuba down at Kilifi, which is 25 minutes away. Very easy to navigate. Okay. Spending money, it depends on what you're going to do.
Sorry,
yes.
Millie.
Yeah, good.
That's fine. The scuba, when you say that, do you mean paddy training or?
Yes.
Okay. So if you've already got your paddy, do you bring that with you?
Yes. If you've already got your paddy, bring your certification, because you might at the weekends want to nip down to Kilifi to do a dive, which takes you beyond the reef.
Okay, brilliant. You can't do that around the Pingo area.
No, you have to go down to Kilifi where they're all based.
Okay, brilliant.
I'll continue that too. So on the paddy, if you don't have the paddy, will you then be taking that in the beginning quite soon so that you will be able to do some extra dives, additional dives along the way, or is it done separately, or how does that work?
You do the scuba diving kind of in week 1 and week 2, and then you go and do the diving at the weekends.
And will they assess in the beginning? I think Lena, for example, she has been diving before, but doesn't have the paddy. So will they then? So do they kind of look like, okay, we can speed it up, or do they go in a separate kind of program where they take the paddy and then?
You have to go through the full course.
Yeah. Okay.
So
that would not be over the weekend. So should you want to do the safari, you could still do that even if you do the paddy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If she is really my kind of advice on the paddy is, the projects out in Kenya are so awesome that, to me, if you're going to, I know I shouldn't be saying this, but if you're going to do a paddy, it's because you are absolutely passionate to do a paddy course. But if you haven't done your paddy, I would just think, oh, actually, I can shelve that unless you're really, I'm going to do that on a summer holiday somewhere else, because it takes away from the project time. And I think the project time, I think they'll get more, one would get more out of doing the projects than doing a paddy.
And
that's my honest opinion.
How much time does the paddy take out of the project until you get it?
Because you have to go down to Kilifi, so it's probably 2 or 3 days
in total.
If not more, depending on the toing and froing.
But are you saying that in total 2 or 3 days? So it would be and that those 2 or 3 days will be split over several days, or is it just?
No, you do a course, so you go bang, 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 bang.
Okay. All right, brilliant. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Can I add on to that? Do you have any idea what sort of cost budgeting if you do any dives at the weekend?
I think you'd be budgeted probably about $70-$80 a dive.
US.
Yeah.
Okay. Is everything converted into US there?
Everything is converted into US, and then you just put it on your card.
Okay. Thank you.
Okie dokie. Just looking through my list of things. Washing clothes. Now, the lovely team at Pope's will wash your clothes, which is all free of charge. But what is really nice is if you give a tip at the end that goes into a pot and gets spread amongst the staff. Now, I'm probably, you can do whatever you like, but I would say a really nice tip is about 20, 30 pounds per head. Okay. It depends how much washing they do for you.
And
Okay.
how many people, is that 3 people? 2 people? 5 people?
What?
When you say 20 to 30 a head, how many?
Oh, no. That's per volunteer, per leaper, popping that total amount into a pot.
Oh, total amount into the pot. Okay,
and then that then gets distributed
staff.
amongst all the local staff.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. So my final point that I want to allude on is the team and the experience that we've set up for you and what we, want for you to get out of it. The leap team, the team for me is why I do the leap, what the backbone of the leap program. None of you know each other. Well, a couple might know of each other. So you're all going to be kind of, oh my God, getting onto that aeroplane at the beginning. It's going to feel like kind of you're 6, all starting school again. Okay. But embrace it. Okay. I know you will. You're going to look at each other at the airport thinking, oh my God, are you going to be my friend for the next 4 weeks? And you're going to have highs and lows. You're going to love people, hate people. It's all going to be a right mix of characters, to begin with. But throughout your journey together, you will learn to love each other and respect each other and be a tight, tight team at the end. But be mindful of it. Be mindful of the challenges that the team experience can give in the beginning. Some of you will be confident. Some of you will be shy. So just look out for each other and, bring each other into the fold so that everybody settles in fast and feels, a valued member of this team. The team also is really important in getting jobs done. Okay. You will work as a team to do the fastest making the fastest Geco stoves. To begin with, you'll be all over the place, who's doing this, who's doing that. By the end of it, week 4, you're going to make speedy Geco stoves. You're going to be speedy in the permaculture because you will have learned to work together. Okay. Also be respectful to each other in the evenings. We want everyone to have a really happy social time, but pull each other out, pull everybody, look at each other, who's feeling quiet, who's having a down day, who's not feeling very well. Okay. Drinking. Yeah, of course we want everyone to have a beer. Of course we do. That's all part of the kind of Kenya sunset experience. But what we really don't want is people getting wildly drunk and just really annoying, throwing up all over the place. We've had it in the past. It's really annoying. And if you are that person, you'll be getting an email from me saying, could you just wind your neck in? You're being really annoying. Okay. So, we're not at school anymore. It's just the team. I want you to really work at it. But by the end of it, you're going to you'll have made bonds for life, but it's what you put into it is what you get out of it. So I just want you to think, team, what does she mean by this whole team experience? And I'll be asking you about the team experience at the end of your 4 weeks. Okay. So why I think this Kenya program is ultra special is because it is a privilege. It is a privilege to work with these communities. What you're going to see, the people you're going to meet, the cups of teas you're going to have in the most bizarre houses in amongst it is going to be really special. So pinch yourself when you're having that cup of tea and think, oh my God, I am so much more than a tourist. I am actually part of this community. And when you're singing your socks off and you've been invited to their church service on the Sunday, remember that, okay? Because they are going to embrace you. They are going to welcome you into their homes. And you just got to grab that opportunity because it is so, so special, like really, really special. Very, very few people get a chance to walk into village life, and you're going to be in amongst it for 4 whole weeks. So I hope that you really enjoy it. Okay. So for me, I wish you the happiest of Christmas, but I wish you the happiest and most successful 4 weeks in Kenya. And don't rush back at the end. Plug on some extra time and enjoy yourself at the beach. Okay, so that's all from me, but any questions from you before we go? All good? Go on. You've got another.
Sorry. Dress code. I just wonder, you did go through what to wear, but is it like, I'm more familiar with Zanzibar where it's Muslim and you need to be respectful in the way you dress. Obviously, girls might be wearing bikinis and things on the beach. Is there any, is it mainly Christian? There's
a bit of everything. There's everything. So when you're in the communities and when you're going into the communities, pair of shorts and a strappy top is absolutely fine. But let's just make sure that the strappy top, is presentable, and the shorts are just normal shorts. They're not short shorts. Okay, so when you bend over, everything is, just respectful. When you go to the church service on a Sunday, then you'll be putting a shirt and, you'll be putting you'll be in fully respectful clothes, which I would. And if you don't have a skirt, it doesn't matter because you can get sarongs there on the beach and wrap that around you.
That's actually one quick. Oh, so, yeah, I am on audio. If there's any kids, in terms of summer clothing, that the girls would realize that they don't have like a long skirt or something, you can get. I think in one of the letters it said there's a little village where you can, a market where you can get kind of the necessary things if you realize that you don't have the correct items.
Yeah, there's a brilliant market literally just up the road where you can source literally everything.
Okay.
And sometimes you can find fantastic finds, literally designer gear for very, very little. So yes, there's everything there. So if you've forgotten anything, it really doesn't matter, apart from your snorkel, your mask, your UV vest, and your reef shoes, and your head torch. When you go on safari, you might want a long pair of trousers, and if you've just packed like Mira's wearing a hoodie, one of those, because it can get chilly at night, but not jeans, nothing heavy like that. But you might want a long pair of trousers and one thicker layer.
And for the evenings, generally, I think you said long sleeve light shirts. Is that long skirts or long light trousers like linen-y, or what would be you want to cover up?
Rule of thumb, when I'm at Kenya at the coast, I always wear those long harem style trousers that are really, really thin with elasticated legs, so mozzies can't fly up your leg. I love those, feel safe in those. And then I wear a kind of very, very thin, long shirt. That's what I kind of mooch about in. Boys, my kind of sons, they will wear kind of kikoi style trousers in the evening and a long sleeved, really light, that Indian cotton shirt. All of which you can buy out there if you've forgotten. But sarongs are really good. Loads of swimmers for the day. You're going to be in and out of the sea, in and out of the swimming pool all day. Okie dokes.
And one last question from me. Anything that you suggested, maybe they bring some things to donate? Yes. Any particular things?
Anything that has not got a battery, any kind of books, but literally tiny, because you want to just take one bag, and if there's anything that you want to donate and you see that there's a shortfall, then you could get it in the market and do it that way. But
not clothes.
Not clothes.
No, okay.
So rather bring less things and then get the necessary things there really from the market, if anything.
Yeah, the things that they would absolutely love, which they can't get in the market, is if you've got a wonderful old jigsaw, you know, that is still intact and no one uses it. Old wooden toys that nobody uses it. That type of stuff. But no batteries, no plastic, no electrical goods.
And footwear, trainers, flip-flops, and the reef shoes. Is
The
that
reef
it?
shoes, essential. The shoes you got to travel out in and wear in the evenings, which are your kind of nice trainers. And then I would take a pair of flip-flops for wandering, you know, those plastic Birkenstocks, you know, the two-strap Birkenstocks, absolutely brilliant. A pair of Crocs, God forbid, everyone hates Crocs, but God, they're good. And maybe a pair of knackered trainers, knackered covered shoes that you can just trash and nobody will care about. They won't be returning with you. Okie dokes. Right, I'm going now. Okay, so you've got everything you need. You've got your flights, you've got your visas, you've got your kit. You're going to do this, you know, the safari and scuba are optional. Phones, money, that will all be sorted when you're there, but take two for, you know. Okay, I'm going over it now. I'm actually going because I'm waffling. Goodbye. Happy Christmas and have a happy trip.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.